So you want to know how I lost 35 pounds, corrected my health, and started getting towards the physique that I was looking for? I used intermittent fasting. You see, I was 35 years old. I was traveling around 200 days a year for work. I found it very hard to exercise. I was traveling in parts of the country where good, healthy food are hard to come by. I wasn't as happy as I thought I should be based on how successful I was as far as my career was going. And I knew I needed to make a change. Started a new job that had travel in it, but allowed me to control my schedule and see customers and travel when and kind of how I wanted to. I decided then that I was going to go on a fitness journey. For context, I was a borderline diabetic. I was 220 pounds. I'm 5'9", so I was heavily overweight. I was fairly active at times, but I wasn't getting in the activity that I needed, and most importantly, I wasn't weight training. I started to study the concept of intermittent fasting and to see if I could incorporate that in my life. And of course, intermittent fasting is the ability to eat in eating windows, and the rest of the time you're fasting. So I started simple. What could I do? Well, I naturally wasn't a huge breakfast person, so I could skip breakfast, right? I could start my fast at 8 p.m. when I stop eating, and I could end my fast around 11 a.m. That's how I started. And at first it was kind of tough the first few days, but over time it got easier and easier. Slowly but surely I started to extend my eating window a little further and a little further to try to find the sweet spot that made me comfortable. So for me, the sweet spot is to stop eating at 8 p.m. and to start eating at 1 to 2 p.m. each afternoon. And of course, there's a lot of weight loss involved in intermittent fasting when you start to restrict your window. I started eating healthier foods, which is the most important thing. Started fueling my body properly. But the thing that they don't tell you about sometimes when they're talking about it only in the guidelines of weight loss is that my health and my cholesterol, my A1C, my diabetic sugar numbers started to improve drastically. As I said, I was a borderline diabetic, and now I wasn't at all. Now I was losing weight at a rapid pace. I ended up losing over 35 pounds, and after I built and kind of broke my body down and lost the weight, I wanted to build it back up, and that's when I started my weight training journey. And you'll see lots of videos on my page that are about weight training, different tips and things that I've learned along the way that have changed my body from a 35-year-old out of shape 220-pound person to a 38-year-old 184-pound person, and I'm still going downward slowly but surely.